Hello, I thought I would share a story with you. It's more for adults than children. Not that there's anything bad in it, it's just it's slightly deep in its story and its message. And it's a story that I don't tell very often, but it's actually in my head a lot of the time. And there's something at the very end that I keep in my mind a lot of the time. And it's a story that I think is for now. Anyway, let's begin. I want to take you to the Middle East. Warm, hot, lots of deserts, mud-built buildings. There was a king, and he had a palace. And around his palace, he had a beautiful wood to keep things cool. His palace was built on a well that was so deep they never ran out of water, and it was the sweetest water that you would ever taste. And the king, well, he wasn't a bad king. He was a wealthy king. He thought that nothing could ever go wrong in his life. He had what he wanted when he wanted, pretty much, but he wasn't a bad king, as I say. And, well, as for his guards, well, he had a captain, the captain of the guard, who was a fine captain, and he protected and looked after this king very, very well. But so well that he began to get a bit arrogant. One day the king was in the palace garden, just walking and sniffing the roses and feeling the cool breeze in the shade, and he could hear in the distance, not far from where he was in fact, a conversation. And he quietly walked forward, and from a distance, the other side of a hedge, he could hear his captain talking to several of the troops. And the captain was boasting about how many women he'd been with. He was boasting about what a fine horseman he was, the best in all of the land. He was boasting about what a fine swordsman he was, the best in all the land, and possibly the best in the world. And so it went on. And this disappointed the king, for he thought, my captain is getting a bit too boastful, a bit too big for his boots. I need to teach him a lesson. But what lesson, thought the king. The king thought on it for a day. And he thought, well, my captain is so good at so many things. I can't think what I could set him. The second day, all day the king gave thought to what he could set his captain. Nothing. The third day, and suddenly it came to him. Of course. Send him for something that he will never, ever, ever be able to find. So he summoned his subjects, his advisors, and the captain and what have we, into the throne room. And he called his captain forward, and he said to his captain, I have a task for you, my captain. Name it, king. Name it, my lord. Well, the king felt something about this, because he thought, well, he's never going to be able to achieve this. And he's almost like a brother at times to me, but I have to teach him a lesson, the king thought to himself. Captain, I want you to find the most valuable ring that you can find. The ring is so valuable, it almost has a mystical power about it. It can make a happy man sad, and a sad man happy. I can find that, said the captain. I bid you well, said the king. And off the captain went. Well, the first place he went was to the market square where the bazaars were. And he went up to a trader there who traded in jewellery and exotic gems. And he said, I'm looking for a ring that will make a sad man happy and a happy man sad. Well, I have these rings here. And the market trader showed him the rings that he had. No, They won't do. This is a very special ring. This is a mystical, magical ring. I'll know it when I have it in my hand. None of these rings. Well, would you like a bracelet? Would you like a bracelet or a necklace for the lady? It's not for a lady. It's for the king. You don't have what I need. And he walked across the market square to another trader. And he looked through his rings and he asked the same question. And the trader showed him his fine rings, for indeed they were fine rings, but none of them were the ring that the captain was looking for. He went to a third trader, the same thing. He returned to the palace. I need to travel further for this, he thought. So he gathered a few of his men. He said, saddle up and prepare the camels, for we have a journey. And they got enough food for more than a week and water. And they got on their camels and they left their fine city and they went across the desert. They went to the next city. Same thing. Couldn't find the ring. They crossed the desert further. Scorching hot days, freezing cold nights. On and on they went to the next city. He went around the markets and the traders, and again, no one had the ring that he was looking for. They had lots to show him, of course, but not the ring. On and on he went, as far as he possibly could. One evening he thought to himself, as they were bedded down in the desert, perhaps I need to go to the sea, to speak to the captains of the ships that come from all over the world. And that's what they did the next morning. At first light, they got onto their camels and they rowed towards the sea, across that endless desert, that sea of sand, with the sun shining hot and fierce. On and on and on they went. He knew he was close to the sea, for although he couldn't see it, he could smell the nip of the saltiness in the air on his nose. We are near to the sea. They went up and over a huge sand dune, and on the other side, in the distance, they could see the glinting and chinking of the sea as the sun bounced off the little ripples on the sea. It was like a jewel itself, the sea. Beautiful azure blue, chinking with the sunlight rippling across it. A jewel of itself, of its own. They rowed down to the harbour and they went to the captain of each ship from all four corners of the earth. And the king's captain asked each and every one of them about this ring that he was searching for. And each and every one of the captains said, I have travelled many lands, many, many lands, and I have never found such a ring. I have seen many beautiful rings, but never this ring. And every captain said pretty much the same. Well, the captain, he thought, this has defeated me. I cannot find it. The first time in my life, I've been defeated. It's beyond what I can control, what I can do, what I can find. No matter how many powers and skills and strength I have, I can't find this ring. So he said to his troops, we have to go back empty-handed to the king. I hang my head in shame. And they went back and they crossed those deserts and went through those cities till they got back to the city where they lived. The captain got off his camel and asked his men to sort the animal out for him, to feed it and water it. And he walked across that market again, thinking, how can I tell my king that I've let him down, that I can't find this thing that he wants, this ring that's so special. And he walked past, well, it was a rug on the floor, an old flea-bitten rug, threadbare. And there was a few copper bracelets and a few necklaces of little seashells and what have we, and a couple of copper rings, and a little boy there, sitting there. And he walked past them, and then he stopped and he thought, I have to ask him. And he turned back and he said, boy, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm looking for a ring so special. can turn a happy man sad and a sad man happy. Do you have such a ring? And the boy turned and looked, for in the shadows the captain hadn't seen was a very old man with long robes and a long grey beard. And he stepped forward. I think I may have this ring that you're looking for. Do you? Said the captain. I think I do. And from out of his sleeve he took out quite a plain band of a ring of gold. And the captain looked at it and said, but it's just a plain band of gold. Give it back to me, said the old man. And the captain gave it back to the old man, and the old man took out a scribe and he etched something on the inside of the ring, words. And he gave it back to the to the captain. And the captain took it, and the old man said, read it. And the captain looked and he read the inscription on the ring. This is it. This is it. This is that very ring. This is that very, very ring. Thank you, thank you, I thank you. And with that, he swiftly went back to the palace. The king had heard the commotion, that there were people coming back into the palace, and he could see that it was his captain walking across the square. And he thought, I have humiliated my good friend. This will be embarrassing for him when he meets me with my courtiers in the palace room, in the throne room, and he has to tell me that he can't find this impossible ring. At least that's what the king thought. The captain went bounding up the stairs and into the throne room and put himself down on the floor and bowed low to the king. My lord, my lord, my lord, I have the very ring, I have the very ring. Do you? Said the king. Do you? Indeed I do, my lord, indeed I do. And he offered the ring to the king, and the king thought, well, this is just a plain band of gold. And he took it in he thought sorry for his captain. He thought, it's just a plain band of gold. And the captain said, my lord, read the inscription. And the king turned the ring and he read the inscription on the inside. And a tiny tear fell from his eye. He looked around at the throne room, at his children and his family, and his friends and his courtiers and his advisors, and back to the captain who he saw as a brother. And he thought for a moment, and there was one or two more tears. Indeed, this is the ring. This is the ring that can make a happy man, a wealthy man sad, and a poor man happy. But inside that ring, there was the inscription, and this too shall pass. And the king knew that no matter what our situation, whether we were having a good day or a bad day, that day would pass onto a different day. And he began to teach this to his subjects, that no matter what your situation, it too will pass. And this is the advice that I keep in my mind at times such as these, when we are in something of a grip of a crisis. This too shall pass. Thank you very much.